Good evening, everyone. And I have quite a few of you joining in here. We'll just wait for a minute or so, let the others also come in, and then we will start the show today. Thank you. All right, with the weather storming up everywhere outside, with a very different sort of a weather that we're seeing out of the blue right after Holi, when we all thought that we're going to be in sunshine and all glory, I think Mother Nature has different plans, and I'm sure that the same sort of weather changes are also happening in our country with the way that we are approaching the world, with the way that we are storming into the world with our own expertise as well. Thank you so much once again for everyone who's joined us today. We still have people coming in, and I'm sure we'll have a large crowd benefiting from this session as well. My name is Anju. I head the admissions and marketing at Rishihood University. Rishihood is India's first and only impact university. We call ourselves as an impact university because I guess every particular aspect that has been created the vision of Rishihood, the way that we deliver our programs, the sort of experience that we want our students to have is embedded or is grounded in the fact that there has to be an impact that each and every stakeholder needs to make within the society, within a larger ecosystem around themselves as well. And I'll talk about Rishihood a little later. But I guess everyone's here very excited for a session on entrepreneurship lessons, entrepreneurship experiences from a company called Amazon. A lot of you are MBA aspirants, a lot of you are B school aspirants, and naturally, one of the ways in which you're looking at your entire management careers is to get into corporates, is to get into larger companies like the Amazon itself and try and see if you can find a growth path there. But what if I told you that a regular, a large corporate giant like Amazon also teaches you a lot of entrepreneurship lessons? And entrepreneurship is usually, thought of as something which is exclusive to regular naukri. So usually people will say, ya to naukri karo, ya to aap khud ka company start karo. It's never, together. But I think it's the world today where we need to be more entrepreneurial in our organizations, whether you're working for an organization or you start something of your own. The ownership, the accountability, the responsibility that you take amongst yourselves to sort of grow that space is equivalent. And what other better place would have been there to sort of teach you on the same thing rather than a company like Amazon? I'll try and see if I can mix up Anand with both the languages so that aapko bhi samajh mein aaye, mujhe bhi samajh mein aaye, and likewise as well. Overall, I have with me Professor Shobit Mathur. Shobit sir is the co-founder and vice chancellor of Rishihood University. It's a very interesting profile. When I first met Shobit sir as well, the idea was that, oh my God, someone so young, someone who's had such an illustrious career, कोई Amazon की इतनी अच्छी नौकरी छोड़ के क्यों वापस आएगा India काम करने के लिए? But I think when I look into his journey, किस तरीके से उन्होंने सारा काम किया है. He's completed his BTech in Computer Science and Engineering from IIT Bombay. He's done an MSc in Computer Science and Engineering from the University of Washington. He went on to do a master's, an MBA from the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. He's worked with Amazon at a time when he helped Amazon transition from a very fledgling e-commerce company to a large technology company that it is today. So he's seen a lot of growth, and from there on, his journey when he started working with something like Youth for Seva, trying to get the youngsters into volunteering, bridging the barrier between youngsters and the society, and today creating, or rather co-founding, an institution like Rishihood, which is focused on nation building, which is focused on helping you achieve the state of your highest potential. I think he's come a long way as well. And there's a plethora of knowledge that we can gain from him. So I'm not going to take up too much of time blabbering here, and I will sort of pass on the dais to sir as well. Just before I do that, थोड़ी चीजें, छोटी चीजें जो आपको याद रखनी है. Your chat box is open. So in case during the session, अगर sir आपसे कुछ सवाल पूछते हैं, if sir is asking you anything and you want to interact with Shobit sir, you can place in your comments, your ideas on the chat box. You also have a Q&A box on your screens. Do place in your questions there. Over the next half an hour, 40 minutes, we'll have Shobit sir take you through his entire experience at Amazon, what he's learned, what is the story like, what are the takeaways that you can pick up for your MBA careers as well. And post that, we will quickly go ahead into a Q&A session, answer all your questions, and then take it forward. So that's going to be the deal. And I'm not going to take too much of time. Shobit sir, we have a good number of students here. We still have a lot of them joining in as well. And I'm sure you will take them through your story and take them ahead as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Anju, for that kind introduction. And thank you for choosing this topic as well, because till the time you chose this topic for me to speak on, I had not reflected on the impact of Amazon on my life. I mean, it was one of those things that I did, but then it was great to see that it has a lot of influence in the way it has shaped me, make my life choices, and many other things that I did since then. Of course, coming back to India was one, but my stint at Amazon always played a very key role in making me who I am. And I think I have brought in some of those lessons in every other initiative I have taken since then. So it was a great reflective exercise for me. It was a lot of lessons that I learned there, refreshing that. And I hope all my young colleagues out there would benefit from listening to that story, because it's not very often that it is told that how Amazon was. So with your permission, can we get started?
Absolutely, sir, without any other delay as well.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. We are in the middle of a storm here in Sonipat. So if my connection gets weak, I'll join back again. So don't worry about that. Now, these are the entrepreneurship lessons from the early journey of Amazon, actually. I chose this picture here. Some of you might recollect his name. He's Jeff Bezos, who was the founder CEO of Amazon. And I had the opportunity of kind of not working very close to him, but of course, Amazon was so small that we ran into each other many times in team meetings and all that. So fascinating person. This was out of his first visit that he came to India, that he took out this picture. I very seriously I put it out here very consciously, because he never came to India while I was working at Amazon, because he never felt India could be a market, that anything here would people would even buy stuff out of Amazon. He never felt that was always he had a development office, but he never started his business in India. So we were always very keen to invite him, but he didn't buy the India story. But after I had come back to India, he also made a visit, bought the India story, and now Amazon is a household name. So after my master's, when I decided to join Amazon, when I would tell people home that I'm working for Amazon, they would say, "Yeah, what is this? We don't even haven't even heard about it. Why didn't you join a better company than that?" But a fascinating place, and I'll share some of my experiences and lessons from there. But this is the picture that he had taken when he visited Bangalore, and then he went around the country, met many different people, grew his business, and eventually became the world's richest man. So that's Jeff Bezos for you. Now, started as a small online bookstore, went on to become $1 trillion company. And again, this is Jeff Bezos out there. So it's a fascinating journey. Not much has been written about it. So it's great that you're all a part of this, and you may not get this content otherwise elsewhere, because it's out of my first-hand experience. It is not that I've picked up any book about it. It's not that I've read any blogs. I just had to remember my time there, and I made notes, and I thought I'll put this out for all of you there. Okay, now this is the story of Amazon for the all the stock market junkies out there. Very interesting journey. So I was at Amazon between 2005 to 2009. If you can see it out there for about almost 15 years flat, uh, the company stock price was at rock bottom. It was almost flat and at the zero, right? So when I joined Amazon in around 2005 for my internship and I then converted into a job, I was there from 2006 onwards till end of 2009. Company didn't do anything. It was making series of losses till that time. Nobody believed in Amazon, but some magic happened during those 4 or 5 years when I was there. That then I left the company, I came back to India, but then the stock took off. But you only hear stories about it after it took off. But a lot of hard work was done when I was there, and all that paid off eventually. So it is a very interesting journey. I mean, you imagine that you're working for a company that has not made any profit for 15 years flat. You may not know if you show up at work tomorrow morning that your card would work because it can always file for bankruptcy and close its doors. It was rented. It was running out of a rented building. I was possibly within the first 2,000 employees at Amazon. Now it has more than 15 lakh employees. Um, Very interesting times at Amazon when I was there. So I'll take you through that. And any questions you have, you can put in the chat box as Anju mentioned. So this is what a brief milestones, because now this is all familiar things to use. Amazon Prime 2005, only in the US first, then UK, France, other places. 2006, something called Amazon Web Services was launched, where Amazon became a technology company. Till that time, it was an e-commerce company. First, it was computing, then it was cloud, storage, um, then Amazon Kindle, right? Very interesting things now, which are all household names. You'll find this in every home. Everybody has an Amazon Prime subscription. So all those things happened during that time. I'll talk about it. Amazon Fresh, which is Amazon Groceries in India now. Amazon Music, which is Amazon Prime Music. Now they bought Audible, that is a podcast company. Then they bought a shoe company, which was a huge acquisition. Then how Kindle and the story of Kindle around 2010. So this was my time there where a lot of exciting, fascinating stuff happened at Amazon. We were always stunned by how the CEO would take these decisions. But then when we look back and connect the dots, बहुत ही interesting journey है कि how उन्होंने ऐसा सोचा होगा, how he took those decisions. So very fascinating. So let me tell how I first of all got into it, right? It is still Abhi, it is seen as the perhaps the most difficult interview process. Almost 6, 7 rounds of interviews throughout the day, and a phone interview before that, and a shortlisting, of course, before that. तो इसमें एक बहुत interesting thing I want you to know and notice is the last interview out there. If you see, it's called the bar raiser interview. Okay, I mean, one of the things as a lesson, I have the lesson at the bottom of the slide, if you can all see, right? Attracting great talent is what has made Amazon what it is. So this thing about a bar raiser interview is the final interview, and you know it that this guy is the bar raiser. अभी bar raiser का मतलब क्या है? Bar raiser का मतलब ये है कि जो average talent है Amazon का, every new hire should be better than the average. If you understand what I say, is that if I'm hiring a new person, it should be better than the average talent जो अभी तक Amazon में है. What happens because of that is every hire will raise the average bar at Amazon. If you keep doing this over many years, then naturally the company ka talent keeps getting better and better and better, and it becomes more and more difficult to get selected into Amazon. So this was a very fascinating HR policy that they had. तो जिनको HR में इंटरेस्ट है ना, जो Amazon का bar raiser strategy है, something we should study very well. It's a very interesting interview. It's not a very technical interview. Technical interviews are done before that. He will give you a very open-ended question सोचने के लिए, and you have to think about it and answer it in a very different way. And he will see if the company employees so far, the way they answer, would you answer better than them? So it's a very interesting strategy, which I think all of you should look at. Uh, the other thing is, of course, the guiding slogan to this day. though I'm not at Amazon, but it still drives what I do. So this is what is there at Amazon all the time. What you see that is written there: work hard, have fun, make history. Um, Actually, it summarizes many entrepreneurs' lives. Many people who work like to work in a startup atmosphere. This will keep you going. It is written everywhere at Amazon. It's their guiding slogan या guiding motto अगर बोलेंगे तो. So work hard makes sense. When you work hard, of course, have fun. And I'll tell you how hard it was to work there. And then make history. And definitely the company made history. Where it goes from here is anybody's guess. But the way they have expanded globally and they have become a household name, they have made history and starting from very humble backgrounds. So I think a lesson to take away, because it's all about what Amazon did right and what we can learn from that, is a slogan like this, which every institution or every organization should have, that will guide your employees, that reflects the ethos of the company. And it, whenever you have a doubt, you look up to that, right? So it's all around you. It's inspiring everyone. One thing that binds everybody together is this Amazon slogan. So very interesting. Summarizes the Amazon culture in three short phrases. To think about that. This is one. Other thing is very fascinating because we're talking about entrepreneurship lessons from Amazon. So there's something called, it is always day one. It is still day one. So Jeff Bezos, whenever he gives a public talk or he writes any letter to his employees, he always ends it by saying it is day one. So what is he trying to say? He's saying the startup spirit should never die. You should always work at Amazon thinking it is the first day of the company. So it's a very interesting and a very fascinating way to encapsulate the startup spirit. So it is written on many walls at Amazon. When I work, I don't know, I've not been there in the new office, but when I was going to work at Amazon, this is mentioned in several places. It is a part of the speech. It is a part of the letters to the employees, that it is still day one. It is still day one. So you carry that mindset that I'm working at Amazon and it is still day one. So जस्ट थिंक अबाउट दैट कि कैसे उन्होंने एक कल्चर ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप को अभी भी सस्टेन किया है while they would be now 15 lakh employees plus, they would be in 20 plus countries. I mean, it is now $1 trillion company. The stock price has gone off the roof. They are no more a startup, but to retain the startup culture from where they started, from a small rented office in Seattle where I was working, to this day, they keep mentioning this, that carry the spirit that it is still day one. So something very fascinating to learn from about how they maintain that culture. Otherwise, usually companies become too big too fast, and then they lose the entrepreneurial spirit that they started with, and then all those other things happen, and people don't want to work there anymore. So how do you keep this entrepreneurship spirit always on? Was a fascinating example from Amazon. Now, not that you put things there. One very interesting other HR policy. So I love the HR policies at Amazon was that it's called a two pizza team. Okay. So what this is Jeff Bezos who says this. If you can't feed a team with two pizzas, it is too large. मतलब एक 7-8 लोग का टीम होना चाहिए. Assuming there are 4 slices, each of them gets 1 or 2 slices. So you can not have a team larger than 7 to 8 people. So your team meeting, you should feed them in all by 2 pizzas. So he makes short, small teams. Now this is may sound obvious, but it's actually not very obvious. If you make the team small, it is easy to coordinate. You are given all the autonomy to run the team the way you want. Okay? And you can decentralize the startup culture. So within a larger startup, there are smaller startups, and each team is a startup. So you create small teams. You are given all the authority to run the team the way you want it, and you run it in this way. You don't make very large teams. So every manager would have about 6-7 people reporting to them. It becomes one team. That is how they created this. So even to this day, if the team lunch is more than 2 pizzas, break the team into two, make more teams. That is the idea. So very interesting way to explain the HR policy and institutionalize the policy, ताकि सभी लोग को ये समझ में आए. ये हमारा कल्चर है. Small teams, fast teams, rapid prototyping, वैसा approach. ठीक है. So this is a interesting thing that I thought I can share with all of you. Yeah, now this is something which is out of possibly anybody's memory. So in the 2000s, I don't know. I mean, I'll just tell what it is. It is something called a pager. ठीक है? कई लोगों ने देखा नहीं होगा. Possibly India में late 90s में early 2000s में it was there. So a pager is a one-way communication device. That is the very fascinating and interesting part of a pager. तो क्या होगा कोई इट इज यूज बिफोर Amazon it was used by people in the fire service. तो you get a alarm या एक notification SMS आता है ना. So it's an SMS device in that sense. Only one way communication. So it will ring, it will beep very loudly whenever something goes wrong. ठीक है. तो it see now Amazon is a startup company. It's a e-commerce company. So the point about the company is it is selling stuff online. It is selling stuff all the time, 24/7. You can't pull down a website, right? It is selling stuff all the time. And we are software developers as a database engineer there. So kya hoga if the website goes down? What happens if the website goes down is Amazon starts losing orders. So when the person who's buying from Amazon cannot access the website due to whatever reason, he will immediately go to a competition ka website and buy the same stuff from there. Now the challenge of the engineers at Amazon is to bring up the website in record time. ठीक है, so we are given deadlines कि 5 मिनट में solve नहीं किया तो it will go to your manager. If manager is not able to address in 15 minutes, it goes to that manager, and all our performance is linked to how fast we can bring the website up. ठीक है, so the pager will beep. The pager will beep in the middle of the night. The pager will beep when you're in a movie hall watching a movie. The pager will beep when you're driving on the highway and the website goes down for whatever reason. So I had a pager with me for 4 years. It was a hell of a job because you are never off work. Pager will beep at all the odd times anywhere. It is like you have to hang it in your neck all the time. So we were carrying pagers like this for 4 years at that time. Eventually, when I went out, they removed these pagers because it was so stressful for employees. They said, "यार Amazon पे काम नहीं करेंगे." So of course, but for me, it was like my life partner for 4 years. Very very fascinating. The startup culture about how do you bring a website up? Every minute you lose billions of dollars of orders. So you have to bring up the website in record time. You have like 5 minutes to bring it up. So we keep doing, try to diagnose, address it. So this is an interesting thing that they had, which I thought I'll share with all of you. कि ऐसा भी एक culture हो सकता है कि you are never off work 24/7. Okay. Now, all that being said, this is what is the most fascinating thing which all of you should know about. कि उन्होंने ना एक they created something called the Amazon flywheel बोलते हैं इसको. And when you join the company on the first day, they tell this is how Amazon works. And to this day, Amazon works like this. So if you just look at it, chalo, let's see the inner circle first. Selection. Selection is the number of items in your catalog. कितने चीजें are up for sale at Amazon. Always increase selection. If you increase selection, customer experience gets better because there are more options. More customer traffic will come in because more customers want to buy from Amazon. If there are more customers coming in, if there is more customer traffic coming in, naturally more people want to sell at Amazon. If more people want to sell at Amazon, obviously selection increases. So it's a virtuous cycle बोलते हैं इसको. So anything you have to work on one of these things, the other thing will happen, other thing will happen, other thing will happen, and it will keep going up and up and up, right? So beautiful way to think about it. Or you think of customer experience. You work on customers' ka satisfaction. If you work on their satisfaction, traffic goes up. Traffic goes up. More sellers want to come. More selection comes in. So keep trying to do this, or get more sellers, get more selection, better customer experience, better traffic. चलते रहता है. So this is what they even to this day do it. Point one. Second thing was about a low cost structure. I'll give you examples of that. Try to always make the product at Amazon, even if it is उस time पर a few cents या few rupees cheaper than the competition. So always try for lower prices. Lower prices will result in better experience, more traffic. That is one. But to get lower prices, your cost structure should be low. So the company should be very, very, in that sense, frugal. Yeah, run on a very low cost. That is how they would think. So they would always run the company on a very low cost. Low cost रखेंगे तो prices to customers can be lower, better experience, and the flywheel takes off. So such a fascinating thing that this is the only lesson that Amazon gives to anybody who comes in. कि ये flywheel है. Just adopt this and keep doing this. तो different teams will fit in their work कि हमारा काम selection increase करना है, हमारा काम cost structures कम करना है, हमारा काम customer experience improve करना है. Just keep doing this. And वो करते 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 that company has become a $1 trillion company. So very very beautiful way of summarizing how a company operates. ठीक है, so this is something I think we should all remember कि can we create the vision of the company in a simple infographic like this and share with all employees ताकि they know their role in the company, कहाँ पर उनका flywheel में where are they fitting in. ठीक है, this is one. हाँ, now this is a very interesting picture from the very early days of Amazon. You can see a camera there, which is a traditional old camera. You can see the desktop computer with the big monitors out there. ठीक है, but what you may not observe and which is very subtly hidden is the desk on which the founder CEO is sitting. Okay, now the desk, if you see, is actually built out of a door. ऊपर door का है, door is there, and then नीचे he has put in some wooden sticks. और उसको he has put a hinge and he has sealed it. So this is called a door desk. I mean, how do I explain this now? It is called a door desk. All of us at Amazon had door desks. मतलब पुराने दरवाजे तोड़कर उससे desks बनाना. ठीक है, so it is not that Amazon may not be able to afford good desks, but because you're sitting on your desk for 10-12 hours a day, if you keep seeing the desk, it will keep reminding you कि हमें हमेशा cost बचाना है, हमें हमेशा cost बचाना है. So from the CEO down to the lowest employee, all the desks were made out of this doors and some sticks put out there and made a door and made a desk like that. कोई fancy desk नहीं रहेगा किसी का भी. So it was a very very fascinating way to remind all the employees at Amazon that we have to save money. If we save money, we can make our products cheaper. If we can make our products cheaper, then more customers will come, customer experience will go better, more sellers will come, a lot of things will happen. So this door desk culture, I hope it still continues at Amazon. I don't know how it is now, but at that time, right from the CEO to the bottommost employee, कोई special desk नहीं है, सभी का एक ही desk है, door desk. It was this very frugal innovation which was done to save costs at Amazon. So very small cabins we used to have, and people would share spaces. So very very fascinating way to create this culture at Amazon. कि हमें सबको एक स्टार्टअप एनवायरनमेंट पे रहना है. ऑलवेज थिंक इट इज डे वन. ऑलवेज थिंक ऑफ द अमेजोन का कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर, सेव मनी फॉर अमेजोन, यूज डेस्क्स लाइक दिस. So very interesting ideas which they had, right? This was a letter that we got from Jeff Bezos, I think in February 2005. Now it's very fascinating because now we know Amazon Prime very differently. उस time पे Amazon Prime was $79 for 2-day delivery. 2 दिन में डिलीवरी हो जाएगी. ठीक है, if you are a Amazon Prime subscriber. Now 2-day delivery in US is a huge country. It's 5 times as big as India. So it was a very big country, and to ship any product anywhere in the US in 2 days time was a challenge. But that was his promise to the employees. कि 2 दिन के अंदर you will get your product, which you have done. 2005 में when I was there. Very interesting, big announcement. So focus की customer को can we get a subscription based lock-in, and can we promise something very very daring कि आप कितना भी order करो साल भर, $79 में you will get a 2-day delivery. This was a very strong customer focus. Again, the flywheel में जो customer experience वाला part है ना, this is there. Now this is good to see that ऐसा एक promise has been made. ठीक है, but naturally there were challenges. Now for the people who have a bit of understanding of geopolitics and things like that, this is what happened around December or 2005 to 2008, right when he announced that Amazon Prime will deliver in $79 per year any number of products to you within 2 days, right? The oil price took off. ठीक है, you can see the chart here. It really really took off in a very very humongous way. So it went, अभी भी उतना नहीं है. It has gone so high during that very short period. So I remember very, very well that company ke meetings mein when we were sitting with Jeff Bezos and people would remind him that the oil price is going up. That means your shipping cost is going up. That means Prime ka price $79 will not make you money. You will lose money, and your share price is already at rock bottom. Right? You will lose money. Shareholders will cry. You will have to raise the price of the Amazon Prime subscription because the shipping costs are going up. Okay? They went up, and in every meeting he just said, no, no, no. We made a promise. We will not change it. We will keep it at $79. It kept going up. It kept going up. He tried to save money in many different ways. Like he made the packaging smaller. He used more smart materials to bring down the packaging costs. But he said, I will not change the Amazon Prime subscription. All competition was killed by that time because they couldn't sustain a competition to Amazon Prime, which was shipping in $79 throughout the year, unlimited. So this is a very very important takeaway that I had. That guy just focused. कि मैंने customer को एक promise किया है तो I'll not break that promise. He kept doing that. 2008 the price peaked in May and then the price fell. And then of course Amazon Prime became viable to the company once again. So this risk, I don't know how he gets the guts to take such risks, but he took that risk. He ये तो let's see what's happening geopolitically. Let's wait for it. The financial crisis happened in 2008, if some of you know. It was called the global financial crisis. Wall Street tanked. A lot of things happened. Company would go bust any day. We were not even sure if our ID cards would work next day morning to access the company. So, but the stock price eventually fell. I'm sorry, the oil price fell. Amazon stock took off after that because Amazon Prime got them so many subscribers that the competition was killed. So this is a very very interesting cat and mouse game that he played, and he took a very calculated risk. जो मुझे लगता है as an entrepreneurship lesson, if you want to take away, how do we take such risks? Okay. Um, Now this is a very popular thing called AWS, but again when I was working there, how the क्या बोलते हैं long term thinking, दीर्घ दृष्टि, right? How does he foresee all this? Now for those people who have some amount of business knowledge, I can possibly you will understand what I'm saying. Now Amazon ka peak season was Christmas. The entire America purchases gifts for their friends, family on Christmas. It's like Diwali in India. ठीक है? So the server का load is maximum during Christmas time. But rest of the year the server is not being used क्योंकि traffic कम हो गया है. So what did he think? He think यार ये server का space, computational power is just being used, unused in the time which is not the Christmas time. So let me sell this. So he sold the technology at Amazon in retail to others, which is now called Amazon Web Services. So you can use the storage at Amazon, you can use the CPUs at Amazon during the rest of the year. It's such a long-term thinking, and this is the most important thing that I want to tell you. He transitioned Amazon from an e-commerce company into a technology company, which was now selling technology services to people. During this time when I was there, I was a very core part of this team because we had to transition all the backend architecture into a different company altogether. So Amazon Web Services took off in 2006. Very, very smart strategic thinking की completely company का DNA बदल दिया. And today, this is the Amazon revenue chart, which I picked up maybe 2 years back, 2021. You will see something called AWS to your left, which is 13.2% of the company's revenue, $62 billion, right? The company makes by selling space, computing to people. It has totally transformed. Still, 47% is from the online work, but then a lot of he has diversified the company revenue into many different things. And the third most high revenue stream is the Amazon Web Services, which he started in 2006, and everybody laughed at him. Why are you doing this? You are a e-commerce company. Why are you diversifying into things that you don't know? This is the game that Google will do. This is the game that Microsoft will do. This is not for you to do. But then he did that, and today, if you see, it makes $62 billion for him. Very, very fascinating decision that he had taken at that point of time. And I was one of those people who was involved very closely in executing that transition. So that's Amazon. Now, for some people, Here, this will be very early for you to remember, but I think around 2007, he started this thing called Kindle. Now, if you see, it's the first edition of Kindle, the first version of Kindle that came in. Now, Amazon got into building hardware products. Till that time, we were not building products of our own. Now, why would you build a e-reader? Your company is to be selling stuff online and all these things, which it didn't have a touchpad in the first thing. First thing it had was you have to punch in those keys, right? So it was like a keyboard on Kindle. This is the first product that came out. Very, very innovative technology. Uh, so this interface was very, very unique, very easy to read. It had all touch buttons there. I mean, the physical buttons there. So he came out with Kindle. And I remember the team meeting where he announced this, and all of us said, "Yeah, what are you doing? People are buying books. Why are you killing your own books by selling something like ebooks on a Kindle? And we don't know how to maintain hardware, develop hardware, build software. That is not what our company is doing. Why are you going away? Why are you diversifying into physical hardware products now?" But he said, "This is the future of reading." None of us believed it. We didn't think people will read stuff on devices like this. We said people will still read books. So we didn't believe that the Kindle will sell. Stock market again tanked. I mean, Amazon stock again fell down because they thought this guy is doing some weird stuff. He's just doing random stuff. Okay. So, but then something very, very fascinating happened, that if you see this in around 2006 end or 2008, sorry, he started selling Kindle, the orange graph that you see there. And the yellow graph is the um, books sold. Kindle books sold within 2 years of its launch crossed the number of physical books sold that year. Can you imagine this? And he had the ability to foresee this, that people will read on a Kindle going forward, not on physical books. Within 2 years, we were all proved wrong. This took off. It sold so many books on Kindle, Amazon, and then completely different product that came out of Amazon, and of course makes a lot of money for Amazon to this day. So that is, yeah, that is the insight of an entrepreneur. That is the ability to take calculated risks. That is the ability to bet on your instincts, convince your employees, convince your shareholders that trust me, we'll do well, right? And it is a real photo from the meeting that I was there. I mean, I didn't take this picture, but I pulled out these pictures from the team meetings. So this was the graph he showed us, that this is what's happening. Okay, but not everything goes well. And this is one of the last slides that I want to show you. He started something called a Fire Phone. When I was not at Amazon at that time, 2013. None of you will remember. Very, very fascinating device. It had a 3D camera at that time, 2013. It had an Amazon operating system on it. He launched it with a lot of fanfare, but within a year, he shut it down because it didn't work out. It was too expensive. The technology was ahead of its times. It didn't use Android or iOS. So the phone didn't do well. The apps were not developed in time. So the phone failed. I think around perhaps a few failures which Jeff Bezos had to face. But he accepted the failure. He shut down the phone within a year, and we don't even know about it. But I'm just saying that not everything is all hunky dory or सब कुछ successful होता है. Failures are there, and he had to accept his failure. The phone never worked. Okay. And in 2021, he stepped down as the CEO of Amazon because he wanted to pursue other interests. So he always kept the company first, built a great company. He now runs many other companies, but he stepped down when the company was doing amazingly well. And he made the person who ran the Amazon Web Services the CEO because he felt that Amazon is now a technology company. Okay. So this is, I thought, a brief journey of what Amazon, the whole journey during those first few years when I was there. And I mean, great journey, lot to learn from it, because now we see Amazon as a huge company, but nobody knows about how it started. Very few have a very first-hand information of how decisions were taken in the boardroom. Was fortunate to be there, fortunate to work under this great leader, and fortunate to have learned a lot of entrepreneurship lessons from him, which to this day are somewhere there in my mind. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Robit sir. I think that was a very fascinating presentation, and like you rightly said, I don't think we have learned about what it was to become Amazon. Everyone knows about Amazon. It's an aspirational place. I've had my own brother who works at Amazon about 5, 6 years, until 4, 5 years back. So I know it's an aspirational place. Everyone wants to go to the cool place of working and so on and so forth. But I don't think anyone has ever understood the entire growth process that has happened earlier. I'm going to invite all the participants, in case if you have questions, please do put in the Q&A box. And meanwhile, your questions come in. I had a couple of questions as well. So we spoke about the two pizza team. We spoke about how Jeff Bezos had this mind that if you can't fit in a team that you can't feed within two pizzas, is too big. Is that sustainable after some point of time, or is that something which can only go in for the first few years of a company's growth?
No, that's a good question. See, some of these things, it's natural to ask, yeah, it happened at that time. How sustainable is it? How long can you continue as the company grows? But see, when I was there, it was still on and the company was growing rapidly. And it was a very strong philosophy that you can't have a team larger than 7 to 8 people. I think it can continue. A lot of people in companies today don't want to work in large teams because it becomes very bureaucratic. Decisions are not taken in time. The meetings are unproductive because updates are too many. So this culture of having small teams, quick meetings was always there. So of course, smaller teams are part of bigger teams, are part of bigger teams. That's true. But at the unit size, they're all small teams. Then the manager represented a bigger team and all that. So that is a very interesting way to run a company because you will keep hearing this from people. यार पहले company ठीक थी अभी बहुत बड़ी हो गई है अभी मजा नहीं आता है सिर्फ दिन भर मीटिंग में जाता है. That's what people say, and then they get bored. So how do you retain the startup culture? So ये थोड़ा एक thought है, and I think a lot of it is HR practices which are there, right? Which he had instituted like this. So I think it still continues. I have to check, but I think it still continues because it's a very core part of Amazon. So Amazon is not this thing that attracts talent by saying कि हमारे पास swimming pool है, हमारे पास food court है. They don't talk about this at all. They only talk about a very, very hard culture, which is very, very focused. So that is how they attract talent. That is how they find themselves.
True. And also we spoke about the ease of rather the entire flywheel, where they've mentioned about how you start your selection, how it leads to increase in customers, increase in traffic, increase in sellers. Now, the idea that I was thinking is it's easier. I mean, for someone like a Jeff Bezos, maybe he's a genius, he's a marketing genius, he's a thought genius, and he could actually place that across in a very short and a very crisp way. But for I'm just thinking from a management aspirant's perspective, who is not yet started an MBA career, he's wanting to get into an MBA, he's wanting to get into an organization. How do they get their thought process started towards presenting complex data in a very simple manner like this?
Oh, I think that's a good question. देखिए, I think the point is कितना clarity है thought में. The person, the company कितनी भी बड़ी हो जाए, the first thing he drew on his paper napkin, possibly in a cafe, जब वो सोच रहे थे about Amazon, is relevant to this day. आज भी, if you see, this is true of Amazon. Now, this should not be seen कि a big burden. कि यार, मतलब, what is this? How could he think of it? How did it work? But I remember very well when I joined first day in Amazon, बहुत बड़ा HR document नहीं है, बस ये दिया है कि you look at this and this is what you have to do. So the entire team के लिए ना, they understand very well where they fit. They understand very well कि I am here to lower costs, I am here to lower prices, I am here to build a better customer experience, and my role in the company is very clear. And it is very clear that because of me, the company is running. Everybody feels a part of it. So what I'm trying to say is, I know it's not easy. It sounds very simple जब ऐसा दिखता है. I'm sure कई सारे iteration उन्होंने किए होंगे to change it and do something else again. But then it is the clarity of the thought and the passion or the zeal of the founder. How do I bring this very simply to my employees? Because as the company scales up, like you're saying, the whole vision doesn't percolate to the bottom. So you'll have to make it very simplified and presented, which he was able to do it in this simple flywheel. So I'm saying it is not easy, but ये clarity की जरूरत है, and possibly education training can help you. It's not that instinct se hota hai ye. So you will have to get trained in doing something like this, because ultimately when you make your 2-minute pitches or the so-called elevator pitches, right, you'll have to present something like this to a investor. Varna, nobody is going to listen to your 40 slide deck, right? So yeah.
True. Okay. And I think we have a question from Hamish here on business growth. So from your experience as well in Amazon and otherwise, what do you think are the 3 or 4 things that anyone can keep in mind when they are focusing on business growth as such?
It's a good question. I think see what first of all, the flywheel is one that's fine. That is how everything happens within Amazon. But the ability to quickly look at a market opportunity and diversify and make it a revenue stream. See, Amazon is a company with a very thin margin. Kya ho raha hai? We are selling a book. But that book is 500 rupees. We may give a 10% discount and sell it at 450 rupees. Okay? Now, my competition, even if he sells the same book at 449 rupees, 1 rupaya sasta bhi, then obviously a person is going to buy it from my competition, because book is a book, right? So there is no margin anywhere, right? I have nothing else to offer. Now, how do I do it? Only by giving you a better customer experience. If you don't like the book condition, you can return it, right? If you buy this book, if you do an Amazon Prime, I can give you in 2 days. So every ability to find कि customer का experience कैसे better हो सकता है, उसमें से revenue कैसे निकाल सकते हैं. So kept adding and adding, and you're reading a physical book, I'll give you also a Kindle. Your physical books can also be transferred to your Kindle, right? The way he built Amazon Prime, 2 day shipping, then he got into other things like ebooks. He got into Audible, which is audiobooks. So he kept adding revenue streams as and when he found opportunities. So that is the ability to foresee कि क्या-क्या opportunities emerge हो सकते हैं and what we can pick up from there. So I think something to learn कि look at the market all the time and pivot.
Yeah. All right. And I have a question from Hari here, who says that so we've learned about entrepreneurship, we've learned about the cycle of how Jeff Bezos has taken his entire entrepreneurial journey. But how do we, as a management aspirant, apply it into a work culture? Apply the same entrepreneurial concepts into a corporate organization when we are working as an employee there?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because of course we are not working at Amazon. So how is
Okay, I think there's a small lag at Shobitsa's end. We're just waiting for a minute till the time he joins back in as well. Please hold on. Yes, sir. I think we lost you for a bit.
Am I audible?
Then. Yes, you're audible. You're audible.
Yeah.
We've had a little bit of a lag again. Yes.
Yeah. So how is it all relevant in our personal lives, in any organization that we work? That is how I try to bring out the lessons from the journey. So the lessons about thinking long term, the lessons about taking calculated risks, the lessons about having a great HR policy, the lessons about how you can maintain a startup culture by making the philosophy visible, right? How you have your team sizes, the lessons about how we expanded into new streams as you saw it, the lessons about how we accepted failure also when things didn't go well. He took that. The lessons about if you find better talent than you, right? You hand over your responsibility to them and do something else. So always keep your company first. So all these are lessons that we can learn and apply in any organization that we are working for. So that is what I wanted to convey through this. Yeah.
Okay. And any lessons that you think you want to give in to students who are wishing to start their careers within management, within entrepreneurship, within these particular areas as such?
Yeah, I think many times when we listen to all this, हमें लगता है कि यार ये तो बहुत ही great story है, but how is it relevant for me? What I think is in 30 minutes, if we could just get a summary of this, imagine getting formally trained on it. See, most of these things cannot be done by instinct. You will have to get a structured training on these things, a lot of it. So that will help you internalize all these ideas. वरना सुनने में अच्छा है, but how to apply it? Next step क्या है? How do we do the next step, right? So all these things are only going to come when you do more of a formal training is needed. A formal try and fail environment is needed, where you try something, it doesn't work, you seek your advice of your mentors. So वो जरूरी है, I think. And you need something as a longer runway. So I think one lesson to take away from his whole journey is, even though the company was not making money for so many years, he kept on it and on it and on it. So ये भी is a part of training. It doesn't come by instinct. Some mentor, some faculty, somebody out there should train you on these softer skills as well. That ye stamina, ye perseverance, this dogged minded key, we will keep doing this till it works. This has to be trained by somebody. So what I'm trying to say overall is, ideas are all good, but ideas को apply करने के लिए you need a formal training in many of these things. That we'll all have to keep in mind. So we cannot ignore that aspect. Just picking up something, listening to a presentation and trying to apply it will not work. Yeah, you need more guidance on this. Yeah.
Okay, and I have a question from Neha here. That if I'm getting into an entrepreneurial journey, if I'm wanting to start an entrepreneurship journey, then do I still need to do an MBA? Do I still need to go through a formal education and then take inputs from there? Can I not be someone like a Jeff Bezos or someone like any other entrepreneur and try and see if I can start off and do things on my own?
No, I think, of course, that's a fair thought that if you have a very brilliant idea, if you have a prototype ready with you, if you have a team already in hand, then obviously you may not want a formal education. You can go and hit the ground already. But if some of these things are not there, right, where your idea needs to be fine-tuned, where you need to find better co-founders, where you need formal training on some of these things, where you think that is going to help you build a better product or a service, then an education is always helpful for many reasons, because it gives you a cohort of like-minded people whom with you can brainstorm this. It gives you mentors for life, right? It gives you access to so many other people using that institutional affiliation, right? It gives you access to funders. So all those things happen in a very structured environment. The chances of success improve, right? But if you're at a very late stage, already doing well, then possibly you don't need. But if you're at an early stage, a formal training and a secure environment improves the chances of success. That is true.
Okay. I think meanwhile I wait for a few more questions here. I'd just like to quickly take you all through the idea of Rishihood as well. I'd mentioned this earlier. We're India's first and only impact university. And like Shobhat sir as well mentioned, that I think the idea is to go ahead and create impact in various companies. We want to build character. We want to go ahead and ensure that there is systemic change across systems where people can go ahead and bring through their ideas with respect to impacting the society. We want to ensure that there is a certain thought formation that is happening throughout our curriculum as well. So all of the programs at the undergrad level, we do run about 6 courses. At the postgrad level, since a lot of you are postgrad aspirants on the session as well, at the postgrad level, we do run a master's in business administration and MBA program, a master's in design program. We also have a 1-year postgraduate diploma in public leadership, which is very, very focused on ensuring that you understand the nuances of public leadership and go ahead with that. So should you wish to go ahead and apply to any of these, you can go ahead and register on an application link. I'll request my colleague to just put in the application links on the chat box as well. But go through the process. I think what we forget often while pursuing a certain a certain course, and I see this with a lot of MBA aspirants. I've been training MBA aspirants for almost 1.5 decades now. The entire focus is, okay, fine, now I have my entrance exam, chalo isko pehle khatam kar lete hain. Now I have my GDPI, chalo isko khatam kar lete hain. We are not focusing on the factor as to what is the value that I want to find out of that degree. अगर आपको MBA करना है तो क्यों करना है? Like Neha asked कि मुझे MBA करना है कि नहीं? If I have to get into an entrepreneurship sort of an area, should I even do an MBA or not? So evaluate the value of your degree. Find out colleges that can appeal to you in terms of curriculum. Find the way in which the curriculum is going to change the way that you think. How will it add on to you as a person as well? Once you've done that diligence, once you've shortlisted, let's say 5, 6, 7, 8 universities, then go ahead, do your due diligence, meet these people, meet the admission counselors, meet the students, meet the faculty, go to the universities, visit them. Itna sa effort to aapko karna padega. You can't be saying that I'm going to sit at home and someone's going to come and give me all the answers to my life. That is not going to happen. And trust me, if someone gives you a call and says कि मैं सबसे अच्छा college है और आप आके please मेरे को join कर लीजिए, I think that's a very clear indication that you will not have you'll not have the sort of experience that you're looking at. So please ensure that you do your due diligence, go through the curriculum, go through what the college has to offer you, find your sync. What matters rather, there's a saying which says that you may have the two best people in the world come together and yet they may not be able to build a successful story because they were not meant to be with each other. Similarly, you may go to the best institution, which is on papers the best one that is there out in the world, but if you're not able to sync, if you're not able to find value there, you're not going to be performing well there as well. So find out that for every student who applies with the Rishiyut programs, whether at the undergrad level or postgrad, we do help them with something called as a catalyst program. We do guide you with multiple counseling sessions, trying to understand where your profile fits, what sort of roles, what sort of domains, what are your interest areas, how will they contribute within a certain university setup as well. And we do help you sort of give you that hand holding so that when you enter your education, you've made a much more informed decision. So go through with the entire process. My contact number is freely available to all students for sure. You can get in touch with me on WhatsApp, on email, write to me about your confusions, about your interest areas. What do you want to do in the future? And then probably we'll be able to help you through across as well. Thank you so much, Shobhit sir. It's been a very, very insightful session. I think so many nuances, and I'm sure all of our students who are here preparing for interviews, preparing for, colleges, whether at the postgrad or the undergrad level, they can definitely take in pointers from the session today and use them when they're talking about companies, when they're talking about innovation, entrepreneurship, ingenuity as well. So I think it's been very, very helpful. And thank you so much for your time. And hope everyone, wherever you are safe today with everything, the sort of weather changes that we've had. I'll be looking forward to meeting all of you all very soon as well. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.